Good day. Here are the stories for the Manila Times for Friday, July 16, 2021. The Philippines has the potential to become the top creative economy in the Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN by 2030. Representative Christopher Toff de Venecia, chairman of the House Committee on Creative Industry and Performing Arts, made the bold prediction during the Manila Times Creative Industries Forum on Thursday. Citing the presentation of Department of Trade and Industry Undersecretary Rafaelita Aldaba, de Venecia said the country's creative industry has been a fast-growing, high-value contributor to the Philippine economy, with potential to become an important driver of more inclusive and resilient growth. The country ranked 10th in creative goods exports in 2020, 5th in total creative exports in ASEAN, and 1st in creative services exports in ASEAN. De Venecia said the Philippines' overall competitiveness in the creative fields needs improvement. Estimates from the Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines and the World Intellectual Property Organization showed that the creative industries generated around 661 billion pesos or 7.34% of the gross domestic product in 2014. De Venecia said while this is significant, the country lags behind Thailand's 10%. The Filipinos' creativity goes beyond music. In today's international arena, there are Filipinos getting the credit for a huge animated blockbuster, a global advertising slogan, or a new and highly technical computer program. The guest speakers at Thursday's The Manila Times online forum agreed that Filipino creativity, if nurtured and provided guidance, can be a major driver of economic growth. Streamed over the Manila Times Facebook page, the forum, The New Economy is Creative, Harnessing Filipino Talents, brought together by Pangasinan Representative Christopher Toff de Venecia, chairman of the Committee on Creative Industry and Performing Arts, Trade and Industry Undersecretary Rafaelita Aldaba, renowned Filipino industrial designer Kenneth Cobonpue, advertising maven Merly Cruz Jaime, Chief Creative Officer of Dentsu International for APAC, Warner Music Philippines Managing Director Ian Monsod, and Wilcon Senior Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer Rosemary Bosch Ong to explore what lies ahead for the creative industry. Aldaba, using a collaborative 2010 study between the Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines and the World Intellectual Property Organization, noted that the creative industry contributed 689 billion pesos to the country's economy, roughly 6.5% of the gross domestic product. In other news, Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurship Jose Maria Joey Concepcion III said the private sector will receive the first batch of AstraZeneca vaccines it ordered to assist the government in its intensified inoculation efforts. Concepcion, the founder of Go Negosyo, said 1.15 million doses of AstraZeneca's vaccine against COVID-19 will arrive on Friday. The same number of doses will also be shipped in August. President Rodrigo Duterte has downgraded the quarantine status for the National Capital Region to a normal general community quarantine from GCQ with some restrictions, Palace spokesman Harry Roque Jr. said on Thursday. The new classification also applies to Bulacan, Rizal, and Cavite. Laguna, which is also part of the NCR+, will remain under GCQ with heightened restrictions. The Nationalist People's Coalition, led by Senate President Vicente Tito Soto III, is considering merging with Action Democratico, whose members include his nephew, Pasig City Mayor Victor Maria Regis Vico Soto. The older Soto raised this possibility when asked whether the NPC plans to coalesce with Action after he met with the latter's officers on Wednesday night. Health Secretary Francisco Duque III said on Thursday the country has enough quarantine and isolation facilities to contain a possible spike in COVID-19 that may be triggered by the Delta variant. Duque gave the assurance amid concerns that the country may not be able to contain a possible spread of the variant, said to be more infectious and can reduce the efficacy of vaccines. The Delta variant is being blamed for the rise in infections in India, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand. Duque said during a briefing the ban on travelers from Indonesia, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, the United Arab Emirates, and Oman until July 31, as well as the so-called 7-10-4 quarantine formula, had been effective in keeping Delta at bay so far. Topping business, the government has been granted a new 540 billion pesos zero-interest loan by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas for budgetary support. BSP Governor Benjamin Diokno said the central bank's policy-making monetary board approved the government's proposal for the funding last week. The loan would give the government with an immediate cash infusion to help it respond to the COVID-19 pandemic. The transaction was allowed under Republic Act 7653 or the New Central Bank Act. The government must pay it back first before requesting a new one. In sports, 6 teams led by the Meralco Bolts, last year's semifinalist in the bubble tournament, will take center stage on Friday's triple-header opener of the PBA Season 46 at the Inares Arena in Pasig City. The Bolts, who fell a game short of reaching the championship round after losing the series to Barangay Ginebra on Scotty Thompson's buzzer-beating tray last year, will take the floor anew at 6 p.m. as they face the new and improved Northport Batang Pier in the main game. Meralco made some key additions in the offseason, trading Baser Amer to get marquee forward Mac Bello to strengthen its front court. The team also picked stocky forward Alvin Pasaol in the rookie draft and will bank on the return of Michael Cañete and Noy Baclao. Northport, on the other hand, is one of the busiest teams in the offseason as the Batang Pier traded Christian Stardinger, the 2014 top overall draft pick, to get 7-foot slotman Greg Slaughter from Ginebra. In the 2021 rookie draft, the Batang Pier secured 6'6" Jamie Malonzo at number 2 overall and 6'8" Troy Rique at number 11. The team also acquired Jeric Balanza from Barangay Ginebra via trade and will have the return of premier guard Robert Bolek. NLEX and Raynor Shine will collide at 3 p.m. while Alaska and Blackwater open hostilities at 12:30 p.m. Rigoberto Tiglao and Ruben Torres are today's front page columnists. Tiglao claims the previous administration deployed a so-called fake news mechanism on the West Philippine Sea, while Torres discusses Labor Secretary Silvestre Rebello III's no board exam scheme. Today's editorial talks about the global fight against hunger. Read a full version on the paper's opinion section or listen to the Voice of the Times. For more news and information, get a copy of the Manila Times on print, subscribe to its digital edition, or log on to www.manilatimes.net. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, and keep up with the Times. On behalf of the Manila Times, this is Arik John C. Kua reporting. Have a safe Friday ahead.